And we're starting up on this feed here. There we go. All right, everyone, we got 20 seconds here. Want to remind you, a great way to support this show is to hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We got the Super Chat open as well. That always helps. And do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Geraldine Orozco is our guest. So make sure you go and enjoy yourself tonight as we are on in 3, 2, 1, music. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. The lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco has returned for the Spiritual You, which we do near the beginning of each month. Geraldine researches the role of DNA as the currency of the past, present, and future. It was a life-changing contact experience back in 2013 that resulted in the activation of psychic abilities. Then in 2017, she underwent hypnotic regressions with vetted therapists to uncover a lifelong history of abduction. Her life is now dedicated to the dissemination of knowledge of hybridization programs and the correction of the commonly held dogma of the human genetic timeline. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com, and we welcome her in right now. Geraldine, it is always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my beautiful friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic, and it's such a pleasure to be here as well. November. Can't believe we are at November. This year flew by like crazy, but here we are.
I know. I actually went to the chiropractor today. I did. Yeah. And I got some really seriously good bone crushing going on. And I feel better. I'm starting to feel better. But, sometimes, I don't care what anybody says. I like getting my back cracked and my neck cracked. It just feels right. It feels good,
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad. So what are you going for? Is it just a readjustment or are you... Yeah, what's going on? Just back?
Well, it's firewood season here. I know you don't know what that is.
I don't.
I'll break down firewood for you, city girl. Okay, I have to go into the forest and get a bunch of firewood. Then I use my manly chainsaw to cut the wood. All right, and then I have to load the wood, usually carrying it through the forest, and load up my truck, get home, unload my truck, and then I have to split it all. But thank goodness I have a hydraulic splitter, because that just saves me from getting in some serious axe time and probably causing me a heart attack. But nonetheless, what happens is your body, if you're not, I have a desk job. I have 2 desk jobs. I'm not a physically fit specimen, all right? So what happens is, no, it's true. It's true.
You seem very fit to me, and enough to get out there and lug wood. I think you're better than a lot of us. I can't really do
there's
any
a
of
lot
that.
of laziness. A lot of laziness. I'm not going to lie. All right? So anyways, considering the fact that when I go get firewood, it's like I'm on a mission. All right? I'm going into the jungle, and I'm coming out with a load of firewood. Well, I got such a big knot right in between my shoulder blades and in my lower back area that my entire arms, from my shoulders on down, I have tingling and numbness because I'm so out of whack.
Wow.
So I'm getting that fixed right now.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, yeah, I can imagine. That's a huge toll on the body, Dave. I mean, you got to take it easy. Be careful with that wood. That's hard.
Oh, well, you know what? I'd hate to see you out there because I don't think they have stilettos made for
Cutting trees?
no,
No?
no. It could be dangerous. It could be dangerous.
I'm sure you wouldn't see me out there, but I do have to say that what I'm looking for now is to create a conscious community, which means going out, getting a farm kind of land and starting to work on farming. And that's kind of my dream. That's my next step. So I have to get, I can do little gardening that I do here in my backyard, but it's definitely not enough, but it's preparing me for the next step, Dave. So we'll see. Maybe it's going to be out in Canada, maybe I don't know where.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I want to see you with with a bandana wrapped around your forehead, and I want to see you working a rototiller. That's what I want to see. I want to see that happen.
I can do it, and it will be done because we have to get those conscious communities out there. We got to be self-sustaining, growing our food. I mean, we got to do this, Dave, and I'm already starting here in my own little backyard. But, to get land, I know that's a lot of work. I don't know if I'm quite ready for that, but I'm starting to get prepared. We'll see.
Well, you know another thing that I'm looking for here is there's two things. I got two things on my mind that have made me giddy lately. And one is I want my own Skinwalker Ranch. I do. I totally want my own Skinwalker Ranch. I want to find a piece of property where there is some weird happenings going on. And so I actually contacted a realtor friend of mine, a buddy of mine in town. His name's Lyle. Weird guy, red hair, likes soccer, Scottish background. So, he could fight. But the main thing is he wears good socks. He always has a good sock collection going on. And I like that about him. And anyways, so I said to Lyle, I said, over the next year to 3 years or four, I said, I want you to find me the most haunted property and house that you can.
Holy moly.
I said, bring it on. Because here's my thinking.
Be careful what you ask for, Dave.
Oh, yes.
So, let's see. What's your idea?
The SOR bed and breakfast, haunted bed and breakfast.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's really something.
I could make a killing off of that.
Why are we going towards haunted? Why not just UFOs? Good old UFOs.
Oh, but you see, that's the thing. And that's part of the reason why I need to get back on my spiritual zen and chi is because before the radio show, before everything happened, I used to be able to summon. And I could have contact at any time that I wanted. Well, due to my busy schedule of working a daytime job and working the radio show at nights, I've kind of lost that. So now it feels like I'm being spiritually told that it's time to come back. And so that's what I'm doing. I want that property. I could set up a nice bed and breakfast that's going to scare the daylights out of people, hopefully, and they'll pay lots of money for that. And number two, I can have my big piece of property, buy a tractor, not just so I could dig holes for no reason, but level out an area where I can have a landing pad.
A landing pad for the UFOs, of course.
Exactly. And hopefully it backs onto a forest, because there's a lot of properties up here that just back onto forest, and the next piece of land is probably 200-300 miles away. There's a lot of those places out here. So I want to get one of those pieces of land that goes into an open forest. So that way, if there's any Sasquatch out there, they're going to be welcome in the yard. Dogman wants to come up and have a game of fetch. I'm okay with that. I'm good with it. I'm totally good with it.
I cannot wait for you to do this. This sounds exciting.
I'm going to.
It sounds very exciting. And I love that your motivation is to get yourself in your highest expression, because you're absolutely right. That's exactly how we have an entryway into the unseen world. Fantastic. I love it.
Well, that's the big one right now is what is happening with everything, because there's a lot of people opening up. There's a lot of people who are looking for questions. There's a lot of people like me who've had experiences, don't understand it, they've disappeared, and now they want to know why. And Geraldine, before we get started too deep into this conversation tonight that we will have, and we'll take audience questions in the second hour, is, we always like to reintroduce you to the show because there's a lot of first-timers listening to us, listening to you, and they may be just about, wondering, well, who's this Geraldine lady and what makes her so special? Because you are special. You had a life transformation in 2013, and it totally took you off your business track and totally made you shift into an entire different dimension in this realm.
That's true. So just to get started really briefly, I started in the corporate world, in telecom, and from there I decided to start my own business. And I was just talking about this with a friend the other day. I funded a meetup group. That's actually how my business began. It was a small meetup group. I had been researching and learning about shamanic meditation, and I just became so interested in so many healing modalities. And that kind of came about as a result of my partner, my life partner. He was to be my partner, my husband, basically. But he passed away tragically. And as a result of that, I think it really made me question, life, death, suffering, joy, all of these experiences that we have as humans. My question was, why would this happen to such a wonderful person? Why does it happen to his family, to us at this time? So I started to question things, and that really took me down a spiritual path of trying to understand what it is to be a human. What are these emotions? What do they do? What are they for? All of this suffering that we tend to experience. And so I started to learn meditation, and as a result of that, I started to have so much success in my business. This is the first business I've ever had, and it just started to launch off very quickly. And I realized that that was a direct result of my meditation practice. The fact that I had been working on breaking contracts, I began to understand my emotions and just take time out of my day, even if it was just 10 minutes, to find silence and stillness. And I just wanted to share that with everyone. So I created the meetup group, and we grew from about 10, 15 people up to 700 people. And we were, I was right in the Silicon Valley, so all of these companies and corporate offices that were in my vicinity would come over and come take meditation courses with me. And soon enough, they started to invite me to come teach at their offices. So this is kind of where it started. Bay Area meditation turned into corporate meditation programs, individual meditation sessions, and as a result of that, I deepened my practice. I started to research even further, right? I took my work even further, but it wasn't until 2017 when I had been working really, really hard, dedicating maybe up to 8 hours a day in meditation. And this is working a 50-hour work week. I mean, it was just insane times of my life. But finding the time, despite all of that, juggling these two businesses to find time for me. And I had a breakthrough in which I began to completely deprogram all of these ideas of what I was, and what I realized that everything that I had made myself to be, as a result of programming, either from my family, from religion, the roles of a woman, all of these ideas that we think we are, the stories, the successes and the failures in my life, before that moment had defined me, had made up who I was. And I think it came to a point where I realized that, we are absolutely not limited to those experiences. Those experiences don't even nearly define us. We're actually something much more. We are beyond that. And that is when, in 2013, I had this life-changing experience where I had an abduction that I was visited by these extraterrestrials, these tall grays that literally took me out of my bedroom and into a craft. And in this experience, I was introduced to children that were presented as my own. So this kind of took my journey into a whole other direction in which I began to question consciousness, interdimension, our interdimensionality, and extraterrestrials, which I had never even considered were real up until that point. So the very next Monday after that experience, I started to have psychic abilities. I could see the multidimensional body. I was so incredibly sensitive. I couldn't leave my house for 3 months after that. And I didn't know what to do with the information. My family would say, don't go public with that, don't talk about it. I considered starting a blog. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't even know the terminology to go into Google and start looking for someone to help or assist me. So it really took some time, and it wasn't until 2016 that I decided that I was no longer in alignment with my event planning company, and I needed to make a change. I really needed to take that experience deep because it completely shattered my paradigm into the unseen world. And when I did that, I found a hypnotherapist, and the hypnotherapist was the one that was able to help me understand this experience deeper. And all of these regressions, these hypnosis regressions, are public. You are welcome to view them. They're on my website. And they really go deep in detail into this topic. But I think what makes those experiences unique is that because I had dedicated my time, and I was actually at the verge of becoming a nun, I was looking for, a convent of some sort to dedicate my life to this kind of inner knowledge. I really was meditating up to hours and hours a day. I think what happened is that I really came into a 0 point, a complete awakening, in which I began to download information without reading any books about extraterrestrials or Anunnakis or the Nephilim. I started to channel this information in the hypnosis regression. And that was very interesting because I realized after the fact, after having several paradigm shifts and, even crises at some point, that this was something that hundreds of people research, in our society. I mean, it was really incredible. So that's how I got into this, and I understood how our human body is holographic in its design, down to the cellular molecular level. The way that we store information, I began to map out how the body, I'm currently writing several books on this topic, one on healing, one on extraterrestrial contact, and one on the hybridization program. So, just mapping out an understanding of how the human body is this incredible powerhouse of intelligence, consciousness, and we really are some of the most advanced biotechnology in this matrix multiverse. So that's kind of what I focus on.
Geraldine, there have been so many people, such as yourself, try to break through in this field, to have that same message as you. Why have you been able to break through where so many people have struggled in getting their information out?
I really couldn't say, why that is. I mean, the only thing, and I have to tell you that it hasn't been easy for myself to get the information out either. I mean, I myself have struggled, experiences of resistance, but at the same time, I think we live in polarity, right? Wherever we experience resistance, there's also assistance. And I think that right now it's a demonstration, it's a manifestation of our times. We are dealing with major polarity being highlighted, where we really feel like, people are splitting up into groups now because of their opinions and the way that they feel about things. And it's almost as if we're going through this scrambling of information in order for people to redefine themselves and to understand what's up, what's down in this entire, universe, basically. So I think the good thing about it, Dave, I think, is that this time that we're in right now is very special. A couple of events have happened over the past 5 years having to do with interdimensional extraterrestrial contact. For example, the government putting out those videos and like the Tic Tac sightings and all of these things that have kind of contributed to creating somewhat of a platform in order for us to feel a little more comfortable about talking about the topic of extraterrestrial contact. And I think that we are, very grateful for all of those that keep asking the questions, that speak out about your experiences to help hold space. And I think when I came into this, it was very organic, kind of innocent in a sense, not really knowing what to expect, and speaking my truth, regardless of any kind of consequence or expectation. So I think that it takes a little bravery to do that, and all of us have an opportunity to do that. Now with technology the way that it is, even though we're dealing with censorship, now more than ever, it is the time for us to speak up and to share the experiences. And I think that there's a lot of welcoming ears, people that are waking up their consciousness, curious, wanting to know, looking for answers. So, that's what we're here to do. I think we are souls that made the agreement to come do this at this time, like me, you, and all of our listeners here today.
Geraldine, and I understand that, and I understand that it's very difficult to get the message out. That's the reason why I have a radio show, is because I felt this was my way to get my message out, but I also had the experience and everything with a radio background in order to do that. So for you and for other people out there who are trying their best to try and make something happen and make something work and deliver that pointed message of communication or what is truly going on behind the scenes, how do you gain an audience? How do you get people to trust your word?
I think that integrity and your own truth, speaking your truth, is really essential. I think that you knowing yourself, taking time with your experience, because for me, my goal was never to talk about it publicly. For years, I didn't tell a soul what happened to me. Until I, came out into hypnosis, and finally we came out with the information, and it was for me, how it started was talking to MUFON, for example, Lorian, who runs the chapter here in California, and sharing my story with her. And I think the fact that these experiences, we speak our truth, and we're very clear about why we do it. For me, it was more to find truth, my own truth. And I think that is what became the fuel that provided experiences and opportunities to hold space for that truth to come out. And a lot of people resonated with that truth. People heard my story, and maybe they had similar experiences. And to this day, I'm still receiving so many messages from people that continue to have them. So I think that there is a place for everyone to come out and speak their story as necessary. Every person here has a light that is essential to the whole right now. You guys have a gift, a certain vibrational frequency that makes up what you're here to share with the world. And the more you are in tune with yourself and your core values, your core morals, your understanding of yourself, your vibrational frequency becomes a magnet for what is necessary in your life. For me, it was never about money. There isn't a whole lot of money in this field at all. As a matter of fact, talking about extraterrestrials of any kind. If you stay with the focus that it's to be of service, for me, that's what I found created the fire and the fuel to bring opportunities. And it was a very organic transition in my life without even thinking.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for people out there who are trying to figure out whether or not they should get their own message out, I think that's encouragement. I really do. As we got about 30 seconds before we go to break here, because for a lot of people, they're afraid of their voice being heard. And you said something that was very, very, emotional and emphatic, which was, your family didn't want you going public. I know my family questioned, are you sure you should be doing this? I said, don't worry, I'm using an alias. So that way it doesn't come back on you. But, good for you for doing that. When we come back with Geraldine Orozco on The Spiritual You, how do you make contact? Why would you want to make contact? What do you have to do to make contact? Yes, Geraldine Orozco and The Spiritual You happens the beginning of each month here on Spaced Out Radio. We absolutely love her around here. We do. She always has nice hair, smells good, decent pair of shoes on, and that's why we keep bringing her back. GeraldineOrozco.com, BayAreaMeditation.com. We'll be back with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio next. We're clear.
All right. I'm going to grab a little water and I'll be right back.
You go, girl.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been there. How we all doing, guys? We having a good night? Having a good time? Making sure that, we're all taking a nice emotional break from tonight's festivities. Just woke up in time for this. Well, thank you, Cat Chaser. Hey, there's Stetson man, John Hudson, everyone. Yes, he is wearing his Stetson right now. I'm doing good. I'll tell you, some of the deep cracks I got today while at the chiropractor, it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. I felt good. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm back.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here. I feel like breaking into song for you.
Let's do it. I want to hear the song.
Jay Sizzle. Is this guy talking to himself? Yes, right now. Well, I was talking to myself. Actually, I was talking to all of you in the chat room. But now I have Geraldine here, so I'm not really talking to myself. And yeah, so hi, Geraldine.
Hello.
Let me guess. It's an absolutely frigid 71 degrees there right now.
It's 65.
You know what I would be doing at 65 degrees?
Wearing shorts.
And yeah.
Oh,
Let's see. What's 65 degrees?
You are my inspiration, Dave. I have to say, ever since we have these conversations about weather, I laugh at myself when I complain about the weather now, and I say, yeah. Baby, you can't complain.
My goal one of these years is to head down to San Francisco, hang out with you in the dead of your winter.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. I want to see you all bundled up, with your your heavy jacket, your mittens, your beanie and your scarves, like 3 scarves around your neck and face. And here I am going to be in shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh, unbelievable. And I do. I wear like 4 sweaters. I have like coats. Oh my God, it's so silly. But I don't know what it is. I was, it's so funny. I was having an astrology reading done. And you know that on my exact birth date, with my time, it says that we are prone to being sensitive to the cold. It says it on my astrological chart. So it's not just me, okay?
Yeah, my buddy in Texas was complaining the other day that it was 78 degrees. I went, that's cute, and I sent him a picture of 5 inches of snow. All right. Let's see here. All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on with the Spiritual You with Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California. BayAreaMeditation.com and GeraldineOrozco.com are her websites. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much.
You know, we need a change of topic here. There's a lot of stress going on in the world right now, so let's just get into some aliens, shall we? Because you never go wrong with a little alien talk, Geraldine. Ever.
Let's do it.
All right, there's a lot of people out there, myself included, who would like to make contact. You know, and I think for a lot of people, you know, they're like, I don't really care how much contact I make. I want to make sure that I have contact, and if they're good, they're bad. I just want to know that they're alive. But there is a reason to do this and a reason not to do this, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, as in everything, yeah.
So how do we go about building up ourselves on a spiritual level in order to make contact with extraterrestrials?
Well, let's look at it this way. The human body is one whole organism. We have the arms, the legs, all the parts of the body, and each one of those parts of the body has cells that are designed specifically to make and build and write the code for that part of the body, right? And so the interesting thing about all of these networks and systems in the body is that they all intercommunicate by something called quantum non-locality. All of the little cells of the body down to the molecular level are oscillating to create these kinds of toroidal fields that are intercommunicating, sharing this information in this kind of network. And the body is like this entire holographic structure of intercommunication. Just the way our body stores information and communicates from, you know, the head down to the legs, or the heart affects different parts of the body. For example, your emotions affect different parts of the body. We are also, with our consciousness, in a sense, a part of this larger whole, this entire organism of consciousness that we live in. And whether we look at ourselves as if our entire human organism, multidimensional body, is the cell of this organism that we call the multiverse, for example, everything that we experience is, in a sense, a projection of ourselves. It's an extension of ourselves. And our ability to communicate and interconnect with those things really depends on our ability to enter into the wavelength or the vibrational frequency of those other parts of this whole organism. So if your vibrational frequency is, you know, at a lower level, you know, because it's a heavy wavelength, most of your experiences are going to be very physical, very sensory, very material in a sense, where you are feeling and sensing through the 5 physical senses. You are able to communicate with your environment. But a lot of us, we don't spend time activating the other parts of our senses. Our intuition, we have the ability of telepathic communication. We have ability to do what is it called, remote viewing. I mean, there's a lot of things that the human can do that we are just learning. And these are things that have been known historically. I mean, even the government has utilized these in history, for their advantage, whatever that is. So we know that the human has unique powers and abilities to activate parts of themselves that are not necessarily interacting with just the physical plane. So in order to get into that state of being, the activation of those parts, we have to unpack the heavy vibrational frequencies that maintain us, in a sense, very connected to the physical plane. And those are heavy emotions, heavy programs, limiting beliefs. All of these things inhibit our ability to be able to expand our vision, inner vision and outer vision, into the unseen realm. Your vibrational frequency will define what you're connecting with also. So if your subconscious program is coming from a state of fear and you are looking to connect with other beings, what you're going to actually connect with is a projection of those subconscious thoughts. So, you may call in to your space experiences that are traumatizing or seemingly fearful because in their subconscious mind, you are programmed to experience that. So it's incredibly important when you come into these kinds of contact or the curiosity of experiencing. Now, mind you, there is no right and wrong, right? We're all experiencing polarity, through all of these experiences. So as long as you can understand that, then the point is that we don't want to experience any more trauma or any kind of more limiting or blocking experiences that will limit you from experiencing more. So in the same way, if we raise our vibrational frequency, which means that you are unpacking, becoming lighter in every sense of the word, emotionally, vibrationally, physically, you are capable of tuning in, almost like a radio dial, into a higher vibrational frequency where you begin to connect with these other beings, interdimensional, extraterrestrial, angelic beings, all of these manifestations of consciousness that are in that range of communication. So in order to begin to connect with these things, we have to do the inner work. We have to tune our dial to be able to receive that communication, essentially.
Okay, so how do we define who we want to communicate with? There are so many people out there, and I've talked to them, you've probably talked to them, they're like, look, I don't believe in this phenomena that it's happening. If it is happening, I want it to happen to me. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad. Let's just see something happen so that way I can prove to myself that this is truly going on. But there's danger behind that as well. So how can we tell which way we should be leading?
Well, the way that our mind projects, here's the thing, everything begins and ends with you. So there are no victims in this game of being human. We are calling into our space experiences based on our beliefs. Okay, so if your beliefs are in a place of curiosity but at the same time doubt, chances are you're not just doubting what you can potentially experience. There are doubts within yourself inherently of your own consciousness, of your own awareness, that I believe first must be addressed because this is a very vast, deep black hole of information and experiences that are available to us. So once you go down, a lot of times, it's very hard to find your balance once you're already experiencing what's occurring. And unless, and something that helped me, and I know it's also helped you in your journey, Dave, is to have a strong spiritual foundation. And for me, if it wasn't for that, I mean, there were times where I was extremely overwhelmed when I first became aware of my hybridization experiences, for example. And I know a lot of other contactees experience the same thing. So you really have to be prepared with a deep understanding of yourself, what you are, and how the mind works, how we are consciously manifesting experiences, because everything that you experience is a direct communication with your environment and your inner environment. If you have programs of fear, of self-doubt, of insecurities, of traumas, where you are in rejection of your very own consciousness inherently, you will project and manifest that kind of experience. And trust me, the manifestation of those things are very vivid, and they can be very much real because it's whatever you're calling into your space, you know. And I've experienced it myself, and I believe that I went through those experiences in order to understand how we manifest these experiences, even unpleasant ones, in which, you know, I felt my life in danger, you know, all of these things that occur as a result of our mind that wants to know, that is curious. There's a part of us that wants to almost test or maybe even challenge, you know, these kinds of experiences. So just know that, you know, that's why I always say be careful what you ask for, because you will manifest that into your space. And sometimes you may not be aware of what you're manifesting because you yourself are not aware of yourself. So that's why that inner work and that deep foundation of understanding yourself is essential to when you're entering these kinds of realms.
Okay, so when you put out that signal, because that's kind of what it is. It's like putting a signal out to the universe. How do we know, even if we are putting out a positive intention, that we want the good aliens to come down and say hello, that all of a sudden we're not going to get the black-eyed, gray-headed anal probers coming in to say, by the way, we tricked you, this is what we're here for, now bend over and bite your bottom lip?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, Dave. Well, here's the thing, you know, and something that we have to understand, the technology of these interdimensional beings is incredibly advanced, right? But all of this is still working with our consciousness and how we manifest the laws of creation of the universe. The laws of the universe are that nothing can be done without your permission. So what that means and how that can be manipulated, misconstrued in the laws of the universe, and which they are very much so. We see that in the world that we live in today, but also universally when we're talking about other levels of intelligence and consciousness. When you, at any point in your life, are not conscious or in hypnosis, for example, when you're not aware of the choices you're making, you're zoned out, you're zombied out, you're checked out, you're not in your body fully present in this moment, you are not in control of what happens to you. That's the problem. So if you continue to have experiences that are overwhelming, causing suffering and pain, you really need to check into how often you want to check out of the physical body. And unfortunately, we have been trained that when we start to feel overwhelming emotions or when we start to coming into these difficult experiences, we want to just check out, tune out, watch TV, do something that pulls us away from the experience. And that is a really big misconception and misunderstanding of how the human body works. We are calling into our space the experiences from the subconscious mind. So how do we know that we are calling in high vibration or low vibrational frequency? The fact of the matter is that if you are experiencing any of these things, you have some kind of contractual agreement that probably wasn't even made within this current timeline. And what I mean by that is that we are fragmented. Our soul is fragmented the moment it comes into this three-dimensional plane into many parts. We have future parts of us, past parts of us, and we are intercommunicating and pulling in information from all of those aspects of ourselves into the present moment. Your ability to come into conscious awareness of yourself allows you to tap into those parts of you. This is how past life regression works. This is how abductions work. This is how hybridization program works, that we have made agreements in prior times when perhaps we were not in our present awareness in order to experience these things, okay? And or we were highly conscious, and we also made the agreement, like a lot of you souls and starseeds are coming from the future back into now in order to help raise consciousness. Some of you starseeds are healers. Some of these hybrid children that are coming into the planet are incredibly advanced hybrids. So all of these levels of consciousness are agreements that are made. How do we know that? Because when you understand what a unified organism of consciousness we are, there is absolutely nothing that moves out of place. So when we're tapping into one of these beings, they can try to utilize any kind of technology or deception, whatever it is, but ultimately that experience, good or bad, was pre-designed by your subconscious mind at a prior time. So I at this point, I don't believe at all that we are victims of any of these experiences. And if you are prone to curious about darkness, you will experience that darkness. If you're interested in light, you will experience some of those lighter aspects. But we are all in agreement, those light and dark parts of you, to experience that. Another very interesting thing about this is that all of these beings that we are interconnecting with are an extension of yourself. If in our human race, you and I have someone in common, a relative 2,000 years ago, universally, galactically, in this multiverse, we all are interconnected as well. Okay, because there is an origin point of consciousness and life that created this system that we're in right now. So just keep that in mind. It has to do with your subconscious mind, how you program yourself and what you intend, truly your intention. Now, I'm just going to add one last thing there before we move on.
Sure.
Your ability to come into a state of neutrality. This is why I teach grounding, an acronym I created called GPAC, right? Just think of Geraldine GPAC, grounding, protecting, aligning, and co-creating. Your ability to manage and work with this technology of this multidimensional body allows you the ability to control the first three chakras, which are your direct connection to the physical plane. So if you close them, you are almost like a router, a computer router. When you turn it off, you reset that router. You are resetting them. So any kind of parasitic consciousness, cords, contracts that are connected with the first three chakras, you are resetting those cords and the information. And that allows you to come into a state of neutrality for just one moment. If you train yourself every day to do that, you are literally activating not just your DNA, but you are activating your psychic abilities. So it's a really powerful practice. And so when we do contact, we want to come into this kind of clear state in which the ego mind and the emotional traumas and all of those baggage and histories of fears and all of these things don't taint your ability to have a pure connection with whatever it is that you're experiencing. So that's a direct way that you can shift how you choose what you're experiencing. That's true with interdimensional extraterrestrial contact, as true as it is with your everyday life. That state of neutrality, that 0 point in the present moment is where the only time you actually have the most power to create. So that's just...
No, that's very true. And the power that you have in your own mind to make that connection, Geraldine, can the extraterrestrials, when they're tapping into that, can they see whether or not you are trying to connect with something on a more spiritual plane?
Yes, they can, absolutely, because again, it's in resonance. And so oftentimes, people are met with councils, with, these galactic councils of higher beings, with certain extraterrestrials. And here's the thing, I feel like the extraterrestrials that we have in our universe, in our immediate universe, are, in a sense, manifestations of some kind of archetypal hierarchy of some sort, okay? Even though we are all a cocktail of DNA, the vibrational frequency can be manifested within these lineages in a very specific way. We tend to hear that, higher vibrational beings like these angelic beings or these Arcturians or these high-level Pleiadians are part of these certain specific agendas. Now, I tend to believe that, if these beings are interfering with you or interacting with you, it's a contractual agreement that was made. Okay. So, your ability to navigate that experience is completely up to you. You can take it whichever direction you want, and it will manifest in that way, right? Again, we're interconnected. We're part of these beings. So we, for example, in my experience, I've had invitations to be a part of these galactic councils. And just because I question free will, right, I decided to completely disconnect from all of those things. Just because I want to experience my experience with my own personal higher self in my presence in this moment. But a lot of people, they connect with some of these beings and they channel information. All kinds of things can happen. So, that's something that's available there too.
I can see that, and I can appreciate that, Geraldine. But for the idea that a lot of people out there have no idea whether they should go for the Greys, the Mantids, or anything like that. They're learning everything off of television. It's still something that should be taken with a grain of seriousness, because we need to be able to understand that you are playing with fire. It's much like trying to taunt a ghost. You never know what's going to happen if you say or do the wrong thing.
That's right. That's right. I mean, and that's why your intention is the most important. I am an advocate for free will. So if I think everyone should go through their experiences, but just understand that, yes, you are playing with fire, and that if you do begin, to interact with them and you start something, I have some people that call me and tell me, I want it to stop. Like, what do we have to do to stop? That's something that should be taken seriously, because if you're not ready to handle interdimensional contact and your understanding of your role in that contractual agreement, you are also interacting with parasitic consciousness. And so this is the second part of my understanding of free will. In my opinion, every organism in this multiverse that chooses to engage with you is aware of an exchange that is occurring. And if that exchange is in a lower plane, so if your experience is a traumatic one, there is an exchange of lower vibrational frequency there, and both parties are aware of that on some level. So I feel that our lack of awareness in that moment can bring us into some very, very extremely low vibrational experiences that we as humans would not be able to comprehend. And so this is something that you have to be aware of, because in order to break those contracts, you need to be aware that you have a choice to do so. And the problem is that a lot of us are not aware that we have the choice to do so. It's a matter of understanding that because you have free will, you can choose to say no, you can stop that agreement, you can break those contracts, and then the priority is that you change your vibrational frequency, which is an inside job.
Okay. Yeah, let me ask you this then, because I'm going to use a personal example here, as we got about a minute to go. Mm-hmm. Okay, you talk about breaking the personal contracts. I have personally said to them and tried to put it out there that literally I don't want any sort of contact while I'm sleeping. I'm tired of that. If you're going to come get me right now while I'm hosting the radio show. That's what I want. If I'm eating dinner, knock at my door and say, hey, it's the aliens, we're here to take you for a ride. That's what I want. If I'm mowing my lawn, that's what I want.
Well, Dave, here's the thing. I mean, and you, the thing is that you incarnated into this physical plane to hold space for some of this information in such a powerful way. And if it wasn't for those experiences that you went through, I mean, you wouldn't be able to speak to this topic, which we need you to speak, because, you've had many lives interacting on these levels with many different races. And it's so, you're in a sense, we think that we want that to stop, but we are not the only ones that made agreements with the interdimensionals. We have many fragments of ourselves. Some fragments of ourselves are in the Akashic records, and they are in the astral plane. So in dream time, if we're not training our awareness in dream time, because that's something we need to do, we need to understand that becoming aware in our dream time is the ability to control your astral body, your body when it disconnects. We can be very targeted by a lot of intelligences and consciousness in that plane.
Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to break here at the top of the hour. Spaced Out Radio continues with Geraldine Orozco right after this. I was listening to what you were saying, And then I took a sip of my iced tea and it went down the wrong way. And I'm like,
Oh,
no.
Oh,
Like,
I'm glad you're fine.
Like, shoot. All right, I'm going to just quickly take my dogs outside. I'll be right back. We got 6 minutes, okay?
All right, go.
Filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi. This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms.
I'm back. Hi, everybody. Hey, Ron, how you doing? Welcome back. All right, Geraldine, I'm sure you got your microphone on mute. Maybe you're not back yet. I don't know. We got 1 minute. 1 minute. Thank you to both Vinny and Cat Chaser for the super chats tonight. I really do appreciate it. I know you're back. I hear you. You see me? Hi.
Yes, I see you. Hey.
Hi, I'm Dave. Thank you to Vinny and Cat Chaser for the super chats. It's a great way to support this show. Give us a thumbs up if you like what we're talking about. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate that as well. And, yes. 30 seconds. I hate that when things go down the wrong way and then your throat feels like you're just not right anymore. It sucks. But we're going to make it through. We're going to make it through. 5 seconds here, Geraldine. Hold on.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for tuning us in. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Fashionorous. Fashionorous is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on with The Spiritual You, and every time we do this each month, we are joined by Geraldine Orozco, the lovely and talented creature out of San Francisco, California. She is the owner of Bay Area Meditation, which you can find at bayareameditation.com, and her other website, geraldineorozco.com as well. And we are talking about ET contact tonight. How do we do it? What is going on? And if you're in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter, we are going to take your questions as well, so make sure that you put your questions in capital letters so that way I can read them to her. And here we go. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for coming on in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's get things started right off the bat here. With ET contact, you are somebody who experienced this that you first knew of in 2013. You went back in time through any regression therapy to learn that this had been happening a lot further back than that. Are you an advocate of people who think they've had contact to get regression therapy?
Well, as a hypnotherapist, it's very important to understand that the mind, the mind works in interesting ways, and we still are trying to understand how we store experiences in the mind. When it comes to hypnotherapy, selecting a hypnotherapist that is able to hold space for this specific topic is, first of all, very important. Second of all, why it's so difficult to talk about hypnotherapy and contact is that because the mind is so impressionable, if the hypnotherapist in some way leads into the idea that we're going to have abduction or somehow ask a question, it's very easy for the subject to create imagery and even manufacture experiences that did not happen to them. Seemingly did not happen to them. Okay, as we're still trying to understand the mind, how the mind works. And this is textbook what, hypnosis education teaches, that we have to be careful in terms of that and the creation of those experiences. The way I look at it from personally being a hypnotherapist and an experiencer at the same time is that ultimately, whether it happened or not, in a sense of a word, it doesn't matter as much as what you get out of your experiences and what they have taught you and how they affect your life. And this is, looking at things from the highest level, really, whether it's ET contact or trauma or something that happened in a past life, all of those experiences are specifically touching you in a specific way. They are triggering emotions within you, triggering experiences, learning opportunities that are going to be unique, and some of them are going to be repetitive. Okay? So for me, when it comes to the healing process, all of these things that we experience are only for us to become aware of ourselves on the deepest level. Ourselves as humans, our role in the human race, consciousness, these souls coming into this physical body to have a human experience. And it's my invitation that when we are talking about hypnotherapy and ET contact, we understand that the purpose for that is to create an opening and support for the experiencer to be able to integrate the understanding that there are interdimensional aspects to our existence, to the potential understanding that they are multidimensional themselves. And it's my belief that this is the reason for those. And also the reason for you to have those experiences in the first place was your higher self providing these experiences so that you can understand yourself better as well. So this is my take. It's a very controversial, topic. A lot of people want to completely discount hypnotherapy as a viable, recognizable source for people that are experiencers. I don't think that that's the case. And just from my personal experience, I mean, the way that I was able to understand tragic experiences that happened to me, medical anomalies that were unexplained, in such a profound way. If it wasn't for the hypnotherapy, I don't think I would have been able to really understand what had happened and learn more, not just about myself, but be able to hold space for other experiencers that went through the same thing. So whether we are all experiencing a global psychosis of some sort, it still deserves research. It still deserves understanding. And it's only through our individual minds and experiences that we can kind of piece together and begin to even understand what contact is and why it's here, what we're experiencing. Ultimately, it's a vision, a view into behind the veil of what lies beyond this physical, world.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here. Coming from our YouTube chat, we have a question from Red Rose, who says, Geraldine, so if I want to make contact with ETs, is it better not to unless we know we have a high vibration because we can attract the wrong beings?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of limiting yourself and the experiences that you have, because we are all learning, we're all evolving. Unless you're a Buddha, completely enlightened, we're never going to reach that point. And, it's becoming enlightenment, quote unquote, or, raising your vibrational frequency is a lifelong process. It's a lifelong evolution. So if you are interested in contact, chances are aspects of your own self, extraterrestrial aspects of yourself, are becoming awakened. And so this is from the inside out. It's not from the outside in. You have to understand, when we have contact, we are meeting parts of ourselves through these extraterrestrials. They are fragments of ourselves, even if they are the darkest, most horrid little beings in the universe, or they are the most highest, incredible, godlike beings. They are parts of us. Okay, so just if you go into this, you got to understand that you're meeting unknown parts of yourself. So just take a moment to look. How much of you do you not know? Are you friends with your emotions? Do you know what triggers you? Do you know why things trigger you in a certain way? My suggestion is to, really sit down and set time to work on that, understand that, and through that process, I guarantee you're going to activate and begin to activate your DNA, which more of the interdimensional aspects of yourself become awakened. And through this process, because you are working on unpacking darkness and becoming aware of the darkness, you have the ability to gauge and navigate the territory in a more balanced manner. So you're not going to be taken completely off charge or come into some kind of parasitic agreement with some entity that you don't need in your space, right? So even entities can attach to you because subconsciously you're fearful. And just the question that you posed for us, subconsciously there's a lot of fear and insecurity in terms of which direction to take. So my invitation is sit with that insecurity. What parts of you would fear the unknown? Why would you fear that? And get to know that part of you really well. And from that perspective, then start to see what comes up for you.
Definitely. All right, let's move on here. Eugene is asking, Geraldine, can you describe the levels of consciousness in sequential order?
Well, there is many levels of consciousness, but are you talking about the levels of the mind, or what exactly? Can you please clarify your question?
All right, we'll get back to that one then. We'll get Eugene to clarify there. And Andrew over in the United Kingdom, good morning to you, Andrew. He is asking, Geraldine, what is the astral plane?
The astral plane is primarily so our human body, we are multidimensional beings. We have many layers to this multidimensional body. The layers of your multidimensional body are interconnected with the layers of the organism in which we are a part of, okay? So when we go out in dream time, we are accessing the parts of us which are between the 9th and 10th dimension of our body, the 9th and 10th layer of the body, which go into the astral plane and the Akashic records. So when you are in dream time, you are in a sense leaving the physical body in order to, not physically, just a part of you, an aspect of yourself, becomes aware of itself in the astral plane, and you can have thousands of parts of yourself, fragments of yourself within those planes that are waking up in order to experience something. A lot of times it's in the astral plane that we can begin to navigate, we can bilocate, we can travel to other parts of the world, even to other people's homes. There's a lot of things that can happen in the astral plane. And I mean, this was even experimented on in the 70s a lot, how people are navigating, leaving their body, what happens to the mind and the body when we are in astral plane. But this is our ability to navigate the physical, the space between the physical and non-physical of our human organism in which we live in, this universe that we live in. And so it's in that plane that we can meet a lot of spirits, souls that are disincarnate, that are in between, life and death. So like ghosts, for example, a lot of these entities, a lot of attachments that are within the physical plane that haven't been able to move on, that are stagnant, do reside within this space. And if you are not conscious and aware of your space, you can very easily tap into any of those consciousness. You can pull them into your space. Within the astral plane, there's also a lot of these archetypal extraterrestrials, okay? A lot of them come in and manifest themselves through, and a lot of experiences are carried out in the astral plane as well. I believe a lot of experiencers that experience sleep paralysis or have these kinds of very vivid dreams are occurring in the astral plane, in between the body, the physical and the non-physical. Aspects of themselves are experiencing on other dimensional planes. And a lot of times, if those are really low, heavy experiences, they are within these dimensions of the 8th and 10th dimension. So this is our ability to access that information.
Very true. Very true. All right, let's continue on here as we wait for more questions coming in from our audience. And we continue on with Geraldine Orozco on the Spiritual You. Regarding connection to extraterrestrials, are there people on this planet right now? We hear about star children and indigo kids. Let's leave them out for a moment. But let's go back to just adults. Are there people, when you talk contracts, that have maybe a, what's the word I'm looking for? A connection to certain extraterrestrial beings, maybe not on a contract level, but maybe on a soul level?
Well, when I say contracts, what I mean is experiential agreements. And so ultimately, those would be on a soul level. I mean, what is the soul? The soul is a fractal of infinite consciousness coming into the physical dimensional plane, embodied in the physical body. And its awareness is temporarily here in this physical body. But it doesn't mean that its other aspects of itself, fragments of itself, are not aware on other planes, on other dimensions. Because when we come into this three-dimensional plane, we become fragmented. So there's parts of us that are in other dimensional planes that are basically portals into other aspects of ourselves. So your question is primarily about hybrids and our connection to them, Dave? Can you repeat that?
Well, just in the fact that, say in a previous life, your soul was on a different planet and you were part of the manted beings or something along those lines.
Yes. So right, and so I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. The purpose for having these fragments of ourselves in these dimensions is basically that we ourselves are fragmented in those aspects. So when I talk about archetypes, everything from draconians to reptilians to greys to Pleiadians to, all of these ranges of extraterrestrials that we believe we know exist in this immediate universe, I believe are like the manifestations of frequency as well, right? So all of those are a part of us. So in other words, we are a cocktail of DNA. We have lived many lives, some of us, in all of these kinds of lineages, bloodlines. Some of us, that's why some of us have reptilian bloodline, some of us have draconian, some of us have Pleiadian bloodline. And so what happens when we start activating our DNA, when we start waking up into our multidimensional aspect, we begin to become aware of those fragments of ourselves. So for example, Pleiadian traits begin to emerge, Arcturian traits, reptilian traits. And so through our evolutionary human process, we have the ability of activating those traits within those higher dimensions. They speak to our quote-unquote superpowers. They speak to our ability to communicate, like languages, for example, activation of information, knowledge, wisdom that is unique to these bloodlines per se, that we have the ability of accessing. And all of that is encoded in your DNA. This is what all of that dark matter in the DNA is holding. It's holding that entire historical record of what you are since the very beginning of the conception of all of this organism, because we are one unified field of information, right? We are not separate from one another. So when we access past lives, some of us go back into the information that is in the Akashic records, which is going to pull you information like, you were Jesus in a past life, you were Mark Antony, you were Picasso, and then if you go further than that, which is literally just going in other higher dimensions of the information, you begin to go out into the astral plane, the Akashic records, into now extraterrestrial aspects, into angelic realms of aspects of ourselves. And so that's where you start to tap into that information. I think it's a matter of vibrational frequency, and it's a matter of the information that you bring here as a unique vibrational signature, which we call hybrids, right? These hybrids that come in with knowledge and awareness of interdimensional aspects, like they know that they're Pleiadian. They have unique access to that specific lineage of information because they have some work that they're doing here on this earth. They are awakening that part of themselves and also assisting others in awakening that part of themselves. So this is kind of how we kind of bring in this information. The thing is that all of us have the ability to have access to these fragments. All of us have multiple extraterrestrial aspects to ourselves that we have the ability of accessing. And we do so by deprogramming first, matrix programming, so any kind of compartmentalized programming into entering into that unified, 0 point where you now begin to unlock the higher levels of your information.
All right, let's get to a question from Cedric, who says, hello, Geraldine.
Hi, Cedric. So happy to see you here.
Cedric is asking, can drug-induced psychotic or psychic intuitiveness be maintained without becoming addicted?
That's a fantastic question, and one that I'm very glad that you asked, because what I've seen, research has found out that, a lot of this drug use and temporary activation of some of these psychic abilities, unfortunately, it's being shown that oftentimes it's not necessarily sustained. Sometimes it's temporary that people have, maybe like, let's say, what do we say, like temporary upgrades or, activations of that psychic ability. But the problem with a lot of people that begin to activate their abilities through drug use, like ayahuasca, for example, or some of these, psychedelic drugs, is that sometimes they have a difficult time integrating the dimension that they've been able to access of themselves. And so in order to integrate and this non-physical aspect of yourself into the physical, because basically you jump-started yourself, you pulled forward into these parts of yourself. You have a snapshot of the unseen world, and now you're trying to bring that back into your everyday life. And because the foundation, the spiritual foundation, the evolutionary process, the chemicals that needed to run through the body in order to create the activation of the pineal gland and the entire human system, the spiritual system of the body, isn't integrated and processed through that temporary process. And so a lot of times, people end up with entities. Sometimes they can even end up with schizophrenia or multiple personalities. A lot of kind of things bring them into an imbalance because they have a difficult time. They haven't created a strong foundation in order to integrate that experience. So it's important to be careful with that. Another part of that is that when you do psychedelic drugs like this, you're creating such a vast shift in vibrational frequency that you create rips in your auric field. And, that can lend to entities coming in and wanting to attach and feed off that temporary light. And it will drain life force energy for some time. And so it's important to understand that your awareness and utilizing your tools of protection in these processes is essential. But more so, that experience, taking it as just a snapshot of what you are trying to achieve organically through your work, through your inner work, your meditation, so on and so forth. Because only through that experience are you activating and unlocking not just the chemicals in the body, but you're growing the gray matter in the brain through meditation. I mean, the entire organism changes and shifts physically, biologically, chemically, on multiple levels when you're going through an awakening process. So it's important to understand that it's not just a jump, that it can be done and sustained.
Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we will take more audience questions when we come back from the break. Making a connection. How do we get in touch with ETs? Are we able to do so? We got to turn up the woo because we all need a little bit of woo here, as this is a pretty heavy week. Very, very heavy week right across North America. You are listening to Spaced Out Radio. Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation and GeraldineOrozco.com joins us for the Spiritual You right here on Spaced Out Radio. Yes, we love her when she is here. We love her when she's not, because she's just that darn good at what she does. Geraldine Orozco continues with us right after this. We're clear.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Oh, you're so welcome. You are so welcome. All right. So, just a brief update to everybody in our chat rooms, those who are new, those are not. All right, we do have a no politics policy for our chat room. Yes, we allow a lot of stuff to go on in there, as long as it's not attacking the guests, as long as it's not attacking or making things personal in our chat rooms. But due to the fact that there is a lot of political friction out there right now, all right, especially with this being election day, we do have a no politics ban on, or a political ban on any comments regarding either Biden or Trump. Doesn't matter. I really don't give a shit because I'm not American, okay? But if you want to bash Trudeau, we're okay with that. We're okay with that. No, I kid. All right, so I just want to make sure that this is a safe place for everybody to be. This is where you get to tune out from reality. So, yes, we allow a lot of stuff to go on in the chat room. Corin's our wrench in there, the booking guy, okay? He allows a lot to go on. The only thing that we ask is let's just tune out from reality for a little bit, and let's make sure that we don't need to talk politics here, because every day you're inundated with it. Everybody's mind needs a break, and that's what we're trying to do, man. This is about peace, love, and the woo. All right? We love the woo around here, so let's make sure we continue that. You guys are doing an amazing job so far. All right? And I just wanted to say those words because I know there was somebody up there who was getting a little PO'd because Cord's the booking guy was, taking off his comments, which that is the rule. What we're doing here, guys and gals, is this isn't communism. This is a Daveocracy. Okay, a Daveocracy, which means that I get to run the chat room the way I want because it's my channel. And if I say there's no politics, there's no politics. Look, if you want to bash a Toronto Maple Leafs fan or LeBron James, or that's fine. You go right ahead. You go right ahead. But when it comes to politics, let's all take a break. Let's just bring it down. Come to that Zen level. This is why, Geraldine, honestly, when I was looking at the schedule and I realized that today was the election, all right, I literally was like, oh, thank goodness the gods answered me with you having you as a guest tonight.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad. That's true. And we definitely want to take a break because, I think it's going to be a long month, I think. So everyone let's just take a break off that topic. There's so much more to talk about. And so many more important things, too, is our centering and understanding. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I have root beer chapstick that I use during the show. Root beer chapstick. When's the last time you had a root beer?
I've never had a root beer.
Are you kidding me?
Right now. I've never been attracted to the smell or the taste of it, and I also don't drink soda, so.
How can you not have a root beer?
I don't know how that happened, Dave.
What about cream soda? Have you ever had a cream?
No, never had a cream soda.
Oh, you are missing out, girlfriend. You are missing out.
All right, we'll have to try that sometime.
No, because I not around me, okay? Because if I got you addicted to the stuff, you would blame me. You would blame me. I'm not being the force that brings that into Geraldine's life. I'm not doing that.
I'm totally blaming it on you, Dave.
You totally would. I know that. I totally know that.
No, I don't have an addicted personality, so I think it would be okay if I just have a little taste, and don't worry, no one's going to die.
Yep, I know the feeling. I have a total addictive personality.
Yeah?
I totally do. Yet it's weird, I've never done drugs.
Yeah. Okay,
outside of pot, I've never done drugs.
Yeah,
and I this whole ayahuasca thing or mushrooms thing to get high or to go into that level of psychedelics or your connection. Not me, man. Not doing it. Not doing it at all.
Yeah.
So I just I don't get it. Like alcohol, couldn't care less. If I ever had a drink again, wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome.
But on other things, total addict. Total addict.
Like what? Bacon?
Bacon. Bacon is one of them.
Okay.
Iced tea. I love iced tea.
Oh, that is delicious. That's
right?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not drinking a nice hot tea in this weather of yours. I would be drinking hot chocolate or something, hot cocoa.
Hold on here. Here we go. It's a balmy 7 degrees Celsius, 45 degrees Fahrenheit. That's T-shirt weather where I am here in British Columbia at SOR headquarters. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. I am the guy behind the microphone, and we're so glad you're here with us. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with the spiritual you with the shivering and cold Geraldine Orozco, basking and complaining about a balmy 18 degrees Celsius, 65 Fahrenheit. You know what I would be doing in that weather right now? I'd be running down the street in T-shirt and shorts.
And here I am with my heater on. But thank you for that shout out, Dave. That's just great. All Californians, okay, represent in the chat. Any Californians out there?
You know, honestly, like today was balmy. It hit like, I don't know.
Wow.
It's balmy today. Had that warm wind going through and 7 degrees. Oh, that's T-shirt weather. Total T-shirt weather.
Goodness. Wow. I commend you. I'm humbled. No complaints coming from over here.
We'll get you here as well. We'll get you here as well. Not a problem. Not a problem. All right, let's continue on here on Spaced Out Radio with the spiritual you. Once again, you can find Geraldine at GeraldineOrozco.com and, BayAreaMeditation.com. And ET contact, that's kind of what we're talking about here. When you make contact, what should you do?
Well, let's see. When you make contact, let's define the kind of contact that we're making. I guess whether it's you're calling in a craft or you are trying to create contact with interdimensionals, the first step would be to try to, before you make contact, to spend a month at least. Okay, I'm going to say this because I strongly believe that to notice and work on clearing your mind as much as possible so that you can come into a state of as much balance and neutrality as possible. If you're in the middle of your stressed out life and then you want to have contact, I guarantee it's probably not going to happen because your vibrational frequency is way out there, and anything that would resonate with that vibrational frequency is probably not going to be on a good level. Another thing that I also want to mention is that, Dave, I honestly think that a lot of us, more of us than we believe, actually have contact without our awareness. I think that it's a level of awareness. I think when we wake up, when we become aware of ourselves and our multidimensionality, we begin to recall contact because we're working on our consciousness, right? On our awareness. But I believe thousands, if not millions of people on this planet probably experience contact without knowing, whether that's through the hybridization program or just in exchanges with their aspects of themselves. We are very much interactive with the unseen world of the other dimensions. So I think that the ability to connect with them, or at least remember that contact, has a lot, if not everything, to do with your awareness. Bring yourself into the present moment from the moment you get up to the moment you go to sleep. This will leak into your dream time. begin to practice lucid dreaming, because you are beginning to become prepared to become consciously aware when you are out of the physical body. And your contact might be very much physical, but all of this is a sense of awareness that not just activates your awareness, but also works with your vibrational frequency. In order to get to those levels, we have to unpack any kind of heavy stuff. Work on that trauma. Whatever trauma you have, any triggers that you have throughout your day, if you're in a constant emotional wreck, stress, and anxiety, you are not going to be prepared to connect with these beings. So handle that. Sit down and do the work. And finally, when you're coming into when you're trying to call in contact, make sure that you are aware of, you can check out my YouTube channel. I do have some amazing meditations that you can do to bring yourself into a state of neutrality. And maybe I'll create a video specifically for this to help prepare your body in order to come into a neutral state. But you want to have a clear mind. You don't want to be thinking about tomorrow or yesterday. You want to be completely in the present moment. And mantra helps a lot. There's a lot of people that talk about doing a mantra like Om, for example, which is a vibrational frequency that affects your entire human body. And it kind of changes the vibrational frequency of the body. Another thing that I can suggest by looking at the multidimensional body, we all each have a pillar of white light that runs down the center core of our body, down the spinal cord, down to the center of the earth. If you become aware of that cord that runs through your body, this is the entrance of pure life force energy. If you are in alignment with that and aware of the state of that core of light, you'll notice that when you're in times of distress or your body is out of balance, that light might feel very shattered and weak. The purpose of this is to grow that light, expand that light, make it really strong. And if you can do that, you are completely changing your vibrational frequency, and it's going to cause the same results as going into mantra, for example. A lot of people that practice CE5, including my very good friend Andrew Rodovich, he practices calling in craft all the time, and to do that, he gets up very early in the morning, meditates for hours, and then goes out, and every single day he has sightings. It's unbelievable. I experience the same. Whenever I go deeper into my spiritual work, I begin to have contact. And maybe it's a reflection of my subconscious mind, a confirmation, right, of the work that we're doing, where your aspects of higher knowledge are coming into your space and communicating with you. So the point is that try not to be in a state of curiosity where you are interested in seeing dark side of it, okay? Because trust me, whatever you want, you are going to manifest, whether you remember it or not, and it'll come up sooner or later. So be aware that everything your mind is doing is like a radio frequency wave that is a magnetic attention that is calling in that matching frequency. So if you maintain yourself in a high vibration, in awareness, you're going to call that same matching frequency into your space. So these are the things that I would highly suggest. I'll have your intentions very clear, and try to learn about what these extraterrestrials are all about if you'd like to understand better, to see who you want to interact with.
All right, let's continue on Spaced Out Radio with the Spiritual You. Geraldine Orozco is our guest. Geraldine, when you make contact and when you have the ability to forge that connection, how quickly before you got aliens?
I really couldn't say that, because I've had clients, experiencers that have been having experiences since childhood, So the way I look at contact, again, we think that we're conjuring in or bringing in this contact. But the moment that you begin to talk about aliens in your life, whether that's as a child or just new thing that you're interested in, I believe it's an activation of your your consciousness, it's an activation of your DNA, and it's an activation of your awareness of your other higher aspects of yourself. You are not going to come into the topic by chance. You're not going to come into it just by pure curiosity. This is absolutely an agreement of experience that we come into as human beings in this multidimensional organism. So I strongly believe that when you're curious about it, because, for example, in my experience, I've never for a moment been interested in extraterrestrials any time before my experience in 2013. I mean, because I wasn't aware that that was a real possibility. I had, just like everyone else, been programmed that extraterrestrials were something of fantasy and the movies and Hollywood. And it wasn't until, I had that experience that began to unlock suppressed memories of contact as a child, very vivid memories that I had forgotten, So I believe it's an activation. And also, you are remembering your multidimensionality, because right now, the way that we're moving in the evolutionary timeline, we are moving towards transhumanism. Okay, and the reason why I want to bring that up is because as we evolve, just as consciousness is moving and reaching higher levels collectively, technology always wants to match that consciousness, and that's what's happening now, right? We are activating parts of ourselves that are coming into a sense of superpower activities. That technology is also matching up to that. We are now communicating with our technology, and the direction that we're headed is for this transhumanism. This is what, the system ideally would want, is to create transhumanism where we are merging with technology. We are even our consciousness is now being talked about being uploaded into, servers and systems and so on and so forth. So, with this awareness, when we look at extremely highly civilized intelligence like some of these extraterrestrial races, we're looking at a future. We're looking at what is the potential for the humans. And we're also looking at the past, because if you look at the evolutionary timeline, we've gone through these incredible highs and lows of heightened technology, heightened awareness and consciousness, and then we've dropped down. And we keep going through these mountains. So we're climbing up that ladder now. We're accelerating in that direction. So more and more extraterrestrial information is going to come out, because our technology is in for a major shift in the past 3 years. All physics are going to change. Our understanding of physics is going to change, because we understand, as we look at the craft up in the sky, and the movement that they're moving in, our physics cannot comprehend that movement. So we're coming in for a major re-education of everything right now. And it's through our individual experiences that will happen.
We continue on here on The Spiritual You with Geraldine Orozco. So with that connection, once it's made and we make contact, and here we are, how long before, or that's probably an incorrect way to put it, but can we expect physical contact to happen, or is it all telepathic?
Well, I think it just depends on your definition of physical. Okay, if you wanna look at how our bodies are, we are holographic. We are not solid matter. Nothing in this dimensional plane is solid matter. The problem is that we keep looking at our world as if we are physical. That is not. And in reality, none of us are physical. There's no matter, physical things, right? So the more we understand that, the more we can understand that it is through our activation of our abilities, our DNA, our psychic abilities, that we have a vision into the unseen world. And this is how we are going to communicate with that unseen world. It's how psychics communicate with other beings. It's how mediums communicate with ghosts. We have to have a bridge between the physical, seemingly physical, three-dimensional, I should say, plane, and fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional, all these other dimensions of intelligence that we have the ability to interconnect with. So I think that, once we start understanding that, that's where we're beginning to bridge that gap in understanding that we've always been in contact, always. I mean, we look at scriptures from ancient Mesopotamia to the Bible to all of these things around the world that are depicting our connections to beings that were, at some point manifesting themselves in a way that we can feel, see, touch, and know that they're there. But we have been in contact in the astral plane for centuries, our entire life. I think that the awareness of that brings into the conversation the technology, new education, a rewriting of our historical timeline, an understanding of our biology. All of that comes into play when you understand consciousness and you begin to question that consciousness and how it functions, how it merges with this, three-dimensional plane. So a lot of things come into question when we talk about this topic. It's important that we understand that they are interconnected. They're not all the same thing, but they are interwoven, and there are necessary aspects to look at because they explain and they speak to one another. They inform one another and ourselves and how we are interacting with them constantly, daily even.
All right, let's get to a question here. This one comes from, where did it go here? Am I missing it now? Oh, my chat room jumped. I apologize. All right, let's get to Kevin's question. What would be the race of aliens that is closest then to human races that you know of?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's many. I mean, the more humanoid kinds tend to be depicted, okay, by what we know, looking at surveys that have been done, looking at records of hypnotherapists that have worked with experiencers. The ones that tend to be humanoid seem to be recorded as Pleiadians, Arcturians, these Nordic types. Even Lyrans. I mean, there has been a lot of records of experiencers that see these beings in physical form. Now, I do also want to point out that because we live in a three-dimensional plane here with our human counterparts, our human friends and families that we have, the way that we look at the manifestation of life is as a physical body, right? So we need to see 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. And so we tend to look at and want to translate these beings into physical form. And I do believe that happens a lot more than we know. There is a divine design behind this human physical body in order for it to function in this earth plane. But there are millions of extraterrestrial races that take forms in which we would not even comprehend. Many of them being very much non-physical at all, being an energy or color or vibration or frequency, or, some of them can look like what we think is our octopus or like our mantids, for example. So these are just what we have experienced immediately through what we know, through the records of the Akash of this planet Earth and what we've been made aware of. But we also look historically at, if you look at old paintings and old pictures of what were written as, gods or saints, they seem to take the form of these things that look like Anunnakis or, they look like some of these reptilian type of beings. The interesting thing is that whether it's programmed within our DNA or whether we genuinely are coming into contact with these beings that are manifesting in this specific form, it's something that's been repeating itself, throughout history. And I think now we're kind of, with our technology and our ability to communicate with one another globally, we are kind of compiling as much information of that as possible. There are a couple of books written, one by Misha Johnston that talks about many different extraterrestrials. Dave, do you know any other writers that talk about the different races off the top of your head?
R. Keith Andrews.
Oh, there you go. Yes. So those are some references that you guys can check out. But again, we have to understand that we are looking at things through our human filter, okay? And there's also the aspect that these interdimensional beings are also utilize screening sometime to pull from your subconscious mind in order to manifest in a form that you will understand. So sometimes they can manifest as Jesus or, an angel or something like this. So this is why our intuition is very important, to be able to tap in to what is being presented to us and what we're tapping into. And our only way to be able to do that is by trusting, our internal dialogue.
Are the rules different for children?
Which rules? In
Just
contact?
In regards to contact and the Akashic records and any type of contracts you have with ETs?
No, absolutely not. It's not different at all. I mean, I think children are much more open. When a child is born, they have all their energy centers wide open. And so a lot of times children that experience sometimes seemingly traumatic experiences early on, these are agreements that were made, coming into this earth at different times. So, they also have the ability of breaking those contractual agreements when they become aware. And I love working with children. I work with a lot of children right now, more than ever actually, that are learning these tools of meditation and learning how to do running energy and contracts and working with their ability to disconnect from these parasitic consciousness. Parasitic consciousness is anything that rejects its own consciousness and now feels that it has to take from outside of itself in order to survive. So we can run into that as a projection of our own parasitic consciousness, our own rejection of our own awareness, or contractual agreements that we've made at a time when we were in rejection of that consciousness. So, children are no different. They are experiencing that. And a lot of times, it's very simply, it's incredible, their ability to integrate healing. When I explain to them the same concepts that I explain to an adult about breaking contracts, they pick it up very easily and they're able to move past those experiences very effectively. So, it's a great question.
All right. Okay, so with children who have, say, been taken, like I know my son has been taken twice, as we got about 90 seconds. Is there anything we as parents can do to help make sure that our children are safe?
Yes. One of the things that can be done, and we have to understand that this contact comes down our lineage, okay? So, for example, down your ancestral lineage, Dave, you've had contact, your wife as well, and so it comes up. It comes up. We've all had contact, really, right? So it's kind of coming down this ancestral lineage, but some of us have it more at surface than others. Okay, so when we work with our contractual agreements, we can work with the contract that we have with our child. So I would suggest, in meditation, pulling up those agreements in order to experience contact. Because this child was not born into your family by, just chance. That soul made an agreement to come into the family that will talk about extraterrestrial contact, that will be open to this topic for a reason, whether that's transformation, evolution, conscious awareness, healing. All of those possibilities are available to the soul through the experience of having parents that are aware of this phenomena. He very well could have been born in another family that doesn't talk about the topic at all, and those would be separate, different contracts. So as parents, our ability to work with our contractual agreements as to why our souls came together to create this family can begin to hold space for healing collectively. And we also have the ability to create protection in our home energetically by shifting our vibrational frequency and teaching our children how to do that as well.
All right, Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because the good news is we have you for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. The bad news is we're 30 minutes away from waiting another month to hear from you. And I don't know which one I like more. Don't know. But the good news is we got you coming back right after the break. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You continues on Spaced Out Radio into hour number 3. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. After Geraldine, we are going to get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. It's a jam-packed Spaced Out Radio hour number 3 coming up next, so please stay tuned. All right, we're clear. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
This is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightline Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website, and let's figure out what's going on together.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting...
All right, Geraldine, I am back. I don't know if you are, but I am. I guess she's not. She'll be back here in a moment. Hi, Theodora. How are you? Looking lovely tonight. Reminder to everybody, please put your questions in capital letters. I know that in my scrolling back, I cannot find a comfortable way to say this, but I can't find them. I can't. I failed. Hello, Pharmacy. Good to have you here. We have a minute 20. Minute 20. All right, Geraldine, I'm sure you have your microphone on mute again, but that's okay. We got 30 seconds. Big thank you to Vinny and Cat Chaser for the super chats tonight. Really do appreciate that. Just put your entire question in capital letters, everyone. My name doesn't need to be attached. And Geraldine, here we go in 10 seconds.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Let's find it here, shall we? It is Fashionoris. Fashionoris is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce the lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco for The Spiritual You. We do this show with her once a month where we find our Zen and our Chi and maybe talk a few aliens as well. Her websites, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. From the freezing and chilly temperatures of San Francisco, California, we welcome Geraldine back.
Hello. Thank you, Dave.
Freezing
That's
temperatures.
hilarious.
You see what I got in there?
Freezing temperatures.
Freezing.
Yeah, 65. You can laugh, everyone.
Oh.
I'd love to hear how Portugal and Spain's doing out there in Australia. So Australia's in summer. That's even more enviable, huh?
I know. But even their winters are like the temperatures at my house in the summer.
Oh, my God.
I know.
There we go.
I know. Don't worry. No igloos. I do not live in an igloo. All right, let's start off hour 3 with a question from Eugene, who is asking, what do you think the difference is between merging and melding?
Well, let's see. Let's define what those things actually mean. Merging of consciousness. Are you talking about when consciousness merges? Or are you talking about the integration of those two?
Let's just go down that road, sure.
Okay, so when we're talking about the integration of our consciousness, when we're talking about becoming, integrating the self, we are, in a sense, merging in order to embody all parts of ourselves, not just taking certain identities or certain individual aspects of ourselves and embodying those. So when we talk about the embodiment of our whole self, it means that we have taken time to become aware of all the fragments of ourselves, all the aspects of ourselves, and work through awareness. Only in that moment can you become this integrated self with everything around you, and that's kind of where you begin to embody that higher self.
Okay. Does that also include on an extraterrestrial level? Does it work that way as well?
Let's see. In terms of contact, everything is a projection of yourself. Everything is an extension of yourself. So when you see these interdimensional contacts, you're looking at a fractal of yourself. This is a fragment of yourself that you're experiencing through. A lot of times when my clients begin to activate memories of contact, they begin to recognize other people that were on craft with them, for example. They begin to see those experiences and recognize not just the extraterrestrials that were there, but they begin to realize that they have had contact with them in other situations, other prior situations. So it's almost as if we have decided to all attend this temporary party of a human, right? We come in and we experience, we share and we make agreements to experience these things together. So this is one of the things that we begin to embody.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. You are somebody who has had a lot of ET experience. And we talked a little bit about getting regression earlier, whether or not the average person should do that just to see whether or not they are worthy of learning about their previous experiences. Maybe worthy is the wrong word for that. Curiosity, I guess, would be more appropriate. Do you believe, then, that there are certain secrets that we shouldn't know regarding ET contact, or even contact with a higher self, so to speak?
Not at all. Not at all. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I think that our ability to be able to see the unknown and become friends with the unknown is one of the most liberating and empowering abilities that the human has. We limit our experiences so much to the physical experience that we forget that even though we may not remember what happens in dream time or in other parts of our aspects of ourselves that are interacting constantly, even in this very moment, listening to this radio, you have fragments of yourself that are checking into the information, looking at, how you feel about it, and all of that are aspects of yourself that you are waking up, that are becoming aware at this moment. So we are creating this intercommunication with the parts of ourselves through this very present experience. Such a simple thing is to listen to a radio station, to a show on the radio. And so when we are coming into unknown parts of ourselves, the only thing that occurs is an opportunity for evolution, for expansion. Because this is what we are designed to do as infinite consciousness, as fractals of infinite consciousness. I mean, do you take a moment and think what exactly infinite consciousness means? It means limitless potential, limitless possibilities. And we look at things from a place of polarity because that's all we know. But imagine other places in this multiverse perhaps operate on different laws of creation. Maybe they look at, 5 perspectives at a time, looking at things from 5 different perspectives. So, we only look at things through our perceived understanding in this present moment. And our job in this moment is, as infinite consciousness, experiencing everything that's available within this polarity that we're experiencing here. So we can experience an expansion through choosing unknown experiences. This is how the humans grow. I mean, early on in my career, when I started my business, when I went to workshops for entrepreneurials, one of the things that they tell you is get out of your comfort zone. That's the only way to grow. That's the only way to expand, to succeed in life. And it's true. We are the human design, the intelligence of this incredible body, physically and mentally and emotionally, is made to be stretched to the limits and then expand and learn and educate itself in that experience, in a sense where you're not going to break, you're not going to die, you just begin to mold into a new self. And so the hope is that in this little 100 years of a life that we have, that we try to experience all possibilities and grow our knowledge, continue to ask for truth throughout all of those possible experiences in order to find ourselves. And what we find is that we are infinite. We are infinite beings. There's no limitation. So I think that, there's no taboo place to go. Even the darkness, when we meet that darkness, it can be terrifying, horribly terrifying. Even the things that we see in this world. But whatever causes a trigger in you emotionally is a reflection of a part of yourself. Remember that. And I know sometimes that's really hard to understand, but it really is a reflection of what is luring within you, inside your subconscious mind.
Very true. Very true. Okay. Let me just check the chat rooms here, see if we have any questions that have been updated. And no, we do not. So we'll continue on here. Oh, here's one from Princess Denali. Curious, Geraldine, have you received any messages about a grassroots effort coming from above?
Grassroots efforts. I think that grassroots effort is kind of the next step in the direction that we're moving in collectively. I've been feeling a very deep call to create conscious community for a very long time now. And I think that I'm setting myself up in the next couple of years to really make that happen. And the more I talk about it, the more I hear people are coming to that place. They also want to create that conscious community. So I think it's like we're getting the memo, right? It's like universally here on this earth, we are receiving that information. And we got to change everything. We're changing the systems. We're changing how we interact in the world today. And we want to be more pro-life, pro-holistic lifestyle, which is conscious and aware of all things around us and how our actions affect those things around us. And that's with everything, whether it's for, the food that we're eating, the electricity, the power, changing the things that we're using to create energy and transportation, all these things, tapping into the technology that is very much available to us, that has been available to us for a very long time, that is being controlled by corporations that want to make money off the limitation of that, technology. So I think it's within our hands to ask and request and to not look for an organization, but become an individual organization of grassroots effort where we begin to make choices in the direction of wellness for everyone, for every system that we're interacting with.
Very true. Very true. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You is continuing here on Spaced Out Radio. Geraldine, as you make contact, as you start building that relationship, not only with your own personal spirit guides, but maybe those from the stars above, how does your life change once that communication is opened up?
So, Dave, you were asking, how does communication with what exactly?
With the extraterrestrials, or even in your personal life.
Yeah.
Because, like you've said, there are people out there, you said this in hour one, that there are certain people out there in your personal life that just aren't going to get it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, at this point, I've become very, very obviously incredibly public with this topic. So, my life has changed completely in terms of how I connect, and I'm very much open without any fear about my experiences. Of course, I know, and it's, I'm put into my family and in my environments, in my communities for a reason, Obviously, I've chosen to somehow, in a sense, become a spokesperson for the topic through my personal experiences, and I opt to share them because whether you believe in it or you don't believe in it, the fact that you have met someone for a moment that has experiences that speak to our interdimensionality, and then is very important to me, and then from there. For me, what's most important is letting people understand that they have the ability to apply their free will towards those experiences, towards our experiences that are terrestrial and also, interdimensional. And that requires a lot of re-education of the systems that we've been educated otherwise. We really don't understand what free will is right now. We're very much groomed into systems and compartmentalized understanding of our reality, which limit our ability to be able to apply our free choices. And so the more we understand how interlinked all these systems are, the more we can choose, not only with our dollar, but with our actions, with our emotions, with our vibrational frequency. We shift immediately that experience. And so communicating and talking with our environment, our friends and family about those things does create a ripple effect, in a sense. Now recently, as I go in deeper into my reactivation of my own higher consciousness, which is in waves, we all experience waves of consciousness. Sometimes we're higher aware, sometimes we're lower aware, and it's necessary because the body is going through readjustments. One of the things that I've noticed over the past 5 months is that because the Schumann resonance is incredibly powerful, a lot of humans are experiencing physical impacts to the physical well-being, that a lot of life force energy has been drained from the bodies, causing people imbalance, especially empaths, especially a lot of healers have been coming into imbalances in their health. And I think that the sun has a lot to do with that. I think a lot of energy has been drained in order to readjust the energetic system that is with our body. We are literally shifting, not just in our systems in the world, but our bodies are having to readjust for the bands of energy that we're moving into in the next couple of years. Activity has kind of picked up. I mean, more than ever, I'm receiving emails from people that have been having more sightings, more experiences, and I myself have had very impactful experiences, even over the past couple weeks, where, the dreams are becoming more vivid, contact is becoming more vivid, and I feel like we're going to see a lot more of this. So, again, it's just another invitation that our awareness of our body and how the body works is necessary. It's necessary for us to be able to heal and to be prepared for these incredible bands of light that are coming our way in the next few years.
So do you buy the fact that, and this may be a little off topic, but still, that extraterrestrials maybe be able to fly through portals or dimensions to get here? Do you think that your personal self, if you are living on an extra or a different dimension at the same time, is having that type of contact as well?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I've seen in my hypnosis is that our existence is more made up of white holes and black holes than we understand. We are electrical beings that create these incredible conduit implosions within the body of energy, of life force energy, that create these toroidal fields around our body, the magnetic fields. And we ourselves, in a sense, have the ability to embody black hole energy or expansive white hole energy. And the way that the universe is designed, what we thought was black, this dark matter out in the universe, is actually very much an interactive substance. Much like a black hole that not necessarily absorbs things, but it's interacting with its environment. So I think all living things are moving in and out of this contractive and expansive energy. So humans alike, the way that we transport, the way that we move around, we are creating portals. I mean, this is very much how quantum non-locality also works. This is how the new modalities of cancer healing modalities are also functioning. They've found ways that through vectoring lasers, have the ability of transporting one cell, out of a certain area in order to remove a cancer cell. And we tap into this technology, right? We're coming into that technology, but that is all a natural design of the world we live in. We see that in our bodies, the way our bodies function. We see it in the universe, and we see it in our nature. So our ability to communicate and interconnect with these interdimensional beings is very much something that we're experiencing here in this immediate moment, but through the communication of these kinds of portals, which are this either contractive or expansive energy that are a shift and opening in dimensional timelines that we experience. So when we have those fractures in those timelines, we have the ability of stepping in to those. I mean, when I was taken out of my bedroom into the craft, my body was literally taken apart for a moment down to the molecular level in order to match the vibrational frequency of the wall and come back together on the other side whole again without feeling pain or bleeding or any of that crazy stuff. So we have to understand that we are less matter, less physical, and what that means is that our ability to communicate with the interdimensional plane, we have more tools than we know. We have 5 senses, and those 5 senses speak to different dimensions that are available to us. We have our sight, we have our sound, we have our sensory, our intuition that we tap into, and those are the languages of other dimensions that we have the ability of speaking. So our connection can very much be telepathic, but that's a vibrational, emanation that is coming in through this integrated network system of communication that we're a part of. So there's many parts of this that are important, and it all starts within.
Absolutely, it all starts within. How do you cleanse yourself on a human level to give your body the type of healing or the type of spiritual energy to make any sort of connection?
Let's look at the definition of healing. What does healing mean? Healing means becoming whole, okay? And what that means from the laws of the universe, it is that unification of the two polarities that we believe are separate. When they come together, just like a man and a woman, in order to create life on this planet, we have to bind together to create this spark of creation. So in that same way, everything is designed with this architecture in mind. The human body, we have a feminine and a masculine aspect to ourselves. When those two parts come into balance, when they meet themselves, they are aware of themselves, they work in harmony in the system, and they can now come into an incredibly powerful state of manifestation, of healing. And this is working micro, macro. It's working at your cellular level. It's working at your whole physical body organism. It's working with you and a partner. It's working with ourselves and the human race as a collective organism of consciousness. So when we talk about healing, our ability to come into that balance means that a couple things have to happen. In order to create that balance of the divine feminine and masculine within the body, we have to fix and correct all of the imbalances that were created by false programming and false beliefs. A lot of these were created by our understanding of how our mother and father behaved, their representation of the feminine and masculine in our lives. We took that upon ourselves as an understanding of how our feminine and masculine relates to themselves within our body. Okay, so if you that old saying of mommy issues, daddy issues, that very much speaks to the imbalanced perception of feminine and masculine understanding of yourself. And so that is the entryway through those triggers that you are holding within you that are constantly causing you suffering, pain, depression, imbalance, illnesses, all of these things. When we go into that little rabbit hole, we begin to clear up and unpack. How do we do that? By revisiting those experiences, becoming aware of those experiences, how the program began, and understanding that there's more than one perception in that program, that you can shift and change, right? And it's through those openings that we begin to create healing within us and become whole again. We can embody the balanced feminine and masculine within us in order to create.
All right, Geraldine, it's that time again where we have to say good night to you, but we absolutely love it when you are on Spaced Out Radio. We'll talk to you next month.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here. Love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. And all my love, Dave. Thank you. Stay warm.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. And the Thought of the Dave, Spaced Out Radio, continues after this. Stay warm. My goodness.
If you can.
Sending me out on laughter.
Oh, God. Well, Dave, I hope you have a wonderful month, and I hope to connect with you soon, and we'll talk some more.
Yeah, I need to, once I get my store up fully on, because we're putting up a new store on our website,
exciting.
and I'm just waiting for the product to be all good, but the lady who's doing it for me, she's been quite busy with her company, because she has a T-shirt and clothing company.
Cool.
So once she is up and running, then I will get the store up, and then we can get things going, and then I'll have more time to concentrate on other type of contact stuff. So that's priority number one right now. But we're almost there. We're almost there.
Yeah, that's exciting. I can't wait to see that. I'm sure it's going to be amazing when it's there.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, I wish you to. Yes?
You're awesome. Thank you. Much love.
Thank you so much. I wish you an amazing month, and to everyone out there, all my love, and see you guys soon.
Oh, yeah. Vinny in the chat room is asking if you will marry him.
Marry him. Oh, that's so sweet. All my love, Vinny. Thanks so much for that. Much love.
Oh, she's throwing you a kiss, Vinny. Throwing you the virtual kiss right now. And he says, yes. All right, my dear.
You guys take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Geraldine Orozco, everyone. Geraldine Orozco. We love her. We love her. You might have to get the old tuxedo out there, Vin. You may have to get the old tuxedo out. Thank you, Eugene. I always appreciate your opinion. The powder blue tux that Vinny will be wearing with the ruffled shirt and the bow tie, hand-tied. None of these pre-tied bow ties. Excuse me. Pre-tied bow ties. Hey, I got a question for you guys. Just out of curiosity. For the New Look store, excuse me, for the New Look store, if I got Carl candles made up, Carl candles, would you want them? Would you buy them? Just out of curiosity. Carl candles. What do you think? Is that up your alley? Is that something that you guys would want? I don't know how to make Carl bath bombs, man. I guess we could make them scented. Yes, of course they're made out of wax. The hell else is a candle made out of? There, Corrence the booking guy. There are new Wu Train t-shirts coming. The logo looks really cool, actually. Earwax, you sick bastard. How about mustache wax? Beeswax. It's still wax, man. It's still wax. 30 seconds, everyone. All right, here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. I'm the guy behind the microphone here at SOR headquarters. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes communication with the dead. A British television channel said it achieved a Guinness World Record when more than 9,000 people tuned in to watch the world's largest live-streamed seance. Say that 3 times fast. The attempt, organized by digital TV channel Really, featured Penny West, the Wiccan Witch, podcaster Nick Stepani, and paranormal investigators Alex Duggan and Mickey York of UK Haunted, attempting to contact the spirits of the deceased at Guy's Cliff House in Warwick, England. The seance was live streamed on Facebook, and Really announced more than 9,000 people watched along, surpassing the channel's goal, earning the Guinness World Record for the largest live-streamed seance. We have reached out to the spiritual world many times before, but we have never been more excited than this time, in which we set a Guinness World Record title, Duggan stated, using the best technology, including a scalar generator, to give the spirits energy to communicate, which has never been done before in the paranormal field. We are able to offer a safe and respectful seance to the largest ever audience, he said. We hope that the audience enjoyed it as much as we did. I'm calling BS on this one. They did it for the Guinness record. They didn't do it for anybody else. They did it for the Guinness record. They played off the paranormal. That scalar stuff, whatever the hell that means, all right? Don't try and make yourself sound bigger than what you are. You're a paranormal team, all right? You got lucky. People interested in the paranormal, that's why they tuned in. Wasn't because of any gear you used. What kind of gear did you use? Who cares? Just give us the damn ghosts. The Voyager 2 probe, one of NASA's most well-traveled spacecraft, has been unable to communicate with Earth for the past 8 months. Voyager 2 has been wandering alone at the edge of the interstellar space, gathering data of some 11.6 billion miles from Earth, sending it back to us. But, you know, we can't get a clear shot of anybody breaking into our house with those crappy cameras the security companies use. But we haven't been able to pick up the phone and call back. The only radio antenna that can communicate with the probe, Deep Space Station 43 in Australia, has been offline while NASA completes a series of hardwire upgrades. Some of the transmitters on DSS 43 haven't been replaced for over 47 years, according to NASA. I think the technology has improved since then. To test the new hardware, the dish pinged Voyager 2 on October 29th with a few commands. It was the first time since mid-March that a signal was beamed to the spacecraft, And because the probe is so far away, the communication team had to wait over 34 hours for a reply. Sure enough, Voyager 2 received the commands with no problems and sent back a hello. Fortunately, it appears Voyager 2 remains blissfully unaware of all the terrible things that have occurred on Earth since March. NASA's Deep Space Network was thinking about putting a mask on it, but they couldn't get a probe out there fast enough to save Voyager 2 from space COVID. The network consists of 3 huge telescopes located in the United States, Spain, and Australia. But the U.S. and Spanish telescopes are unable to communicate with Voyager 2 because of its trajectory. When the probe passed by Triton, a moon of Neptune, it was shot out of the solar system's plane. If you think of the solar system like a plate, the probe is like a pea that rolled around a potato and off the side and started traveling towards the floor. From that position, the Northern Hemisphere telescopes can't send any more signals. With the cosmic call, engineers and scientists can be confident the hardware upgrades haven't messed with our ability to communicate with deep space probes. An unknown soldier from here at Canada, who laid buried for decades in the Netherlands, has finally been identified as an Albertan-born man killed in action as the Second World War drew to a close. And the search for his final resting place has reunited the soldier's relatives with the man who stood beside him on the battlefield as he died. Trooper Henry George Johnson's identity was confirmed under a program dedicated to identifying newly found skeletal remains and a Canadian service members buried in nameless graves, the Department of Defense has stated. Johnson was buried as an unknown soldier in 1945 in the Commonwealth War Graves Commission Mook War Cemetery in Limburg Province, a final resting place for more than 300 soldiers killed in the Second World War. National Defence Canada said a headstone rededication ceremony will take place at the grave in Mook. The son of Wilbert and Adeline Johnson, Henry George, otherwise known as Archie, was born on May 2nd, 1915 in Chauvin, Alberta, 265 kilometers southeast of Edmonton. Johnson married Amelia Ellis in the spring of 1939. Together, they had 5 children. He supported the family working at a sawmill in Chinook Valley. He enlisted in 1943 and arrived in the United Kingdom in July 1944. He was declared killed in action on January 17, 1945, during a battle that was part of Operation Blackcock, an effort to clear German troops from the Ruhr Triangle during fighting on the Western Front. He was just 29 years old. Johnson's regiment, 1st Armored Personnel Carrier Regiment, was nicknamed the Kangaroos as the unit was charged with transporting infantry soldiers in armored vehicles called Kangaroos. Johnson was killed near Susteren in the province of Limburg in the southeastern part of the Netherlands on the night of January 16th as his company came under heavy shelling. The regiment, along with the squadron of tanks, had temporarily broken away from the rest of the troops in an attempt to offset the threat of heavy counterattacks. While the men dove under vehicles for protection, 5 were uninjured or injured, and Trooper Johnson, a Kangaroo gunner and radio operator, was hit and killed. Well, that's just too bad. You know, the fact is, they have found his body. They're going to repatriate it, and now a family finally has some closure. 75 years later. God bless him. God bless him. It's awesome. Britain's new polar ship, the Sir David Attenborough, headed for the open seas on Tuesday to start trials after a storm delay before making its maiden voyage to Antarctica next year for climate change research. The $260 million state-of-the-art polar research vessel, with its red hull and bright yellow crane on its stern, sailed past Liverpool's historic docks and out into the sea, headed for North Wales. Officially, the ship is named after the veteran BBC naturalist David Attenborough, but to many Britons, the boat will always be known as Boaty McBoatface, after the suggestion topped a public poll to name the vessel in 2016. Its departure from Liverpool was delayed by around a week due to stormy weather. A British Antarctic Survey spokesperson said that calm seas preferred to test and calibrate its specialist equipment for the first time. It will remain at sea for just under a week before berthing in Holyhead, Wales, once the current Welsh coronavirus lockdown ends on November 9th. The BAS will operate the ship, carrying out ice trials in the Arctic in early 2021 before a journey to the Antarctic in November next year, where scientists say it will transform UK researchers in polar regions. Oh, I don't know what's happening here. Just a disgrace here. Absolute disgrace. A Playboy model traveling with her 7-year-old son claims she was discriminated against and humiliated when she was kicked off a Southwest Airlines flight last week due to a revealing outfit. Eve J. Marie boarded a flight from Dallas to Tulsa on October 29th, but was asked to leave when the airline staff said her low-cut leopard print outfit violated the carrier's dress code policy, which bans lewd outfits. Apparently, Southwest staff said the model and Instagram influencer, I hate that word influencer, who has almost 200,000 followers, was showing too much cleavage in her ensemble. She's a Playboy model. She is well endowed. Most of them are. Marie countered by saying the airline was discriminating against her because of the size of her breasts. What did I just say? I hadn't even read that line yet. Once the model and her son left the flight, she argued with staff over the definition of Southwest dress code policy and said that no one could come to an agreement on what the policy entails. After agreeing to wear a flight attendant's sweater over the top of her outfit, Marie, who said she spends $90,000 a year with Southwest, and her son boarded the plane again. However, they were made to sit in the first row so that other passengers could not look at her and oogle over her outfit. When they threatened to remove me off the plane, if I didn't have a change of clothes, I felt completely humiliated, embarrassed, and highly offended. I am an A-list member for the airline and have a credit card with the airline. I have perks that allow any person traveling with me to fly free because of my high status with the airline, she continued. So even being as a loyal customer with them, I felt like the other women on the plane were judging me based on my attire, and they were saying my boobs were too large. Well, that's something I can't help. Hopefully she doesn't help that. The model said she wants a public apology from Southwest, which has not yet commented. Give the girl her apology. She deserves it. Oh, here's one that's going to upset you. Oh, this is going to upset you. You know that idiotic song that will get in your head, that baby shark doo-doo-doo crap? Yeah, that one. That every child has tortured us adults with for the last couple of years. I don't know how this happened or why parents would allow it. I call it the soccer phenomenon because any parent who allows their child to play soccer would let them listen to this song. Baby Shark swims to the top of YouTube, becoming the #1 most viewed YouTube video in history. 7.04 billion views. Yeah, that infectious song, which is more like a hemorrhoid that won't go away, officially set the Guinness Book of World Records. Guinness said Baby Shark Dance by Pinkfong took records for the most viewed music video on YouTube and the most viewed video on YouTube overall. Disgusting. Video which has amassed 7,042,967,886 views at the time this story came out. Yeah, between its original posting, June 17th, 2016, and November 2nd, 2020, took the record from Luis Fonsi's Despacito, which was the first video to receive 5 billion views. Guinness said that idiotic song has more than 22 million likes and 10 million dislikes, making it the most liked and disliked video on the platform as well. Come on, let's get those dislikes up. Totally. It's horrible. Horrible. That's what society has come to. Baby shark doo-doo-doo-doo. Now, all of you are going to be getting that in your head. You're going to take it out on me because I put that song in your brain. Don't blame me. Blame Shirky Poo for putting the story in. Here's a weird one. A man in Colorado nearly died after suffering an extremely rare allergic reaction to the cold air after a shower. Sounds like a Major League Baseball pictures injury. The 34-year-old man was found collapsed on the floor after he emerged from a hot shower. It's not exactly clear when it occurred. He was taken to the emergency room as he went into anaphylactic shock, suffering from hives, shortness of breath, low blood pressure. Yeah, he must have got a picture of my former mother-in-law. I think that's what happened. It's not the cold water or the cold temperature. He got a photo. He previously lived in Micronesia, known for its warm tropical climates. The adjustment to the cold weather of Colorado likely brought some of his problems on. The man was treated with 2 doses of epinephrine. Epinephrine. Sorry. Never read that word before. Epinephrine. And a drip and medication to help treat his inflammation. Doctors were forced to perform a test. When they put an ice cube on the man's skin for 5 minutes to see if it would cause a reaction, it immediately caused him to break out in hives. This guy's allergic to the cold and he moves to Colorado? You got to be serious. The unidentified man was prescribed an epinephrine auto-injector, an antihistamine, and advised that he should avoid exposure to cold weather. He may want to start looking for a new home in the southern part of the United States. Just saying. If you're allergic to cold, you don't move to Colorado. If you're allergic to cold, you don't move to Canada or Minnesota or northern New York, because Buffalo gets a lot of weird temperatures and weather there. I'm just saying, live wherever you want, man. Live wherever you want. But if you're allergic, you may want to put the for sale sign up on the house. Or see when you can get out of your rental contract. The Norwegian makers of the internet browser Opera announced they are offering a $9,000 payday for a 2-week dream job browsing the web for fun. The company said they selected a personal browser that will spend 2 weeks performing online activities such as hunting for memes, watching cute baby animal videos, and researching unusual topics while live streaming the experience on Opera's social media channels. This might seem like a joke, but it really isn't. We are indeed hiring a person to just surf the web and actually get paid for it. What we are looking for in a candidate is the unpolished truth. We want someone who has the guts to share their online experience with the world, says Opera. Anyways, interested parties are being asked to record a 15 to 60-second video where they talk about their most relevant browsing moment of their life. It could be anything from a funny incident to a dead serious revelation. Applications are being accepted through November 13th. And do we have time for one more? Do we have time? No. Let's just get to the thought of the day. Let's do it. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What are you doing to calm your mind these days? Marty, one of our favorite veterans, thank you for the clown. I'm in training to become a hermit. John, it's much better to just stay calm in the first place. This is done by staying in the present. Cherry Pick, the less I value the opinions of others, the more calm my mind seems to be. Listening without thinking about what I'm going to say next has helped me calm my mind the most, I think. And getting my veggies in. Amy, positive intention. Chip, I like to smoke meat. I don't get that. Quinoa, meditation, and a beer or two. Judith, not watching the news and keeping social media at a minimum. So she posts on Twitter. Ross, I'm recalling my entire Cold War training. John, so just give me weed, whites, and wine. I don't get it. Eric, I'm going to drink a few beers with my lady. Brad wants super doobies and UFO sightings. Maybe this is why he's having UFO sightings. Ganja, a whole lot of ganja. Yeah. It's not called the devil's lettuce for nothing, man. Come on. Danny, sadly medication, but I'm working on my meditation. Leslie wants to start chewing down on Valium. Joretta, meditation, having quiet time, no TV or radio on Facebook. Kim, meditation, reading, listening to calming music, watching tiny kittens. HQ live streams on YouTube. Journaling, talking to friends online, and doing a program online for balancing my mental health, too. Jeanette, instead of correcting problems, they've made it easy for folks to deal with. Marijuana is now legal, and they're working on heroin and cocaine. What's with all the drug addicts? Seriously. Doesn't anybody just have a normal, clean life anymore? Holy cow. Heroin and cocaine? What's with my listeners? You bad people. Bad. Davey, yoga, meditation, riding my bike, and most importantly, being in nature. Vicky wants a chamomile and some hippie lettuce. Scott is on absinthe. Kevin and Kevin's beard, two separate entities, by the way. Take the dogs for a ride on the side-by-side, work around the house, shoot my guns. How can you tell he's from Texas? Cheryl, meditation, 5 to 10 minute duration, 2 to 3 times per day. Nikki, music, music, music. Wayne, writing audio dramas, computer art, art on canvas, just chilling. Ann, Gorilla Glue, the plant client. Jim, I carry my 357, it makes me all warm and fuzzy. Joe, drinking from the skulls of my enemies. And finally, Major Lee, watching Spaced Out Radio on YouTube. Yes, always help. I am that factor right there. Definitely tune us in again. Thank you to everybody in the Thought of the Dave. We will do it all again on Facebook and Twitter tomorrow. And thank you to Captain Shirk for the positive news, because you are so positive, Captain. You can find our SOR Newswire on our website. And to Geraldine Orozco for coming in for the Spiritual You once again, because we absolutely love her around here. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. Make sure you check it on out. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody participating in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and our website, and of course, the Snarkers at Spaced Out Radio. Put a hashtag in front of that. It's all on Twitter. You can find them. They're right there. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but tomorrow, my friends, we will ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.